Good evening. Thanks so much for joining us on this Father's Day. I'm Tim Pham. Every year we're seeing more and more birds becoming extinct or endangered. This includes some of the ones you might see flying in your own backyard. So KREM 2's Shayna Waldtower spoke with an expert on how we can keep more birds off this list.
Yep, we're talking about birds, and while many of these species are protected here in Washington, there's still a lot that we can do to make sure that our areas and backyards are safe spaces for these animals. They are animals we may often take for granted, but several of these birds are endangered.
It's not okay to harass or kill these birds.
So to help save these animals before it's too late,
A lot of our birds are sit and wait hunters, and that is exactly what it sounds like.
Carmen Yount is teaching about humans' role in preserving these animals. She's a raptor specialist at the West Valley Outdoor Learning Center. Today she's traveling with her friend, Hanovi. While the population of this great horned owl is steady, some of her brother and sister species aren't.
One bird that is local to us that is having some difficulty is the barn owl, because barns are disappearing. So fewer barns means fewer opportunities for barn owls to nest.
But she says the solutions to keeping these animals an active part of our environment involves building things like barn boxes for those birds to live in. She also says planting native plants in your yard can attract these birds and keep them in the area. And even keeping an eye on your pets while they're roaming outside can help.
If this bird got into a tussle with a cat and the cat scratched the bird, there's a large possibility of infection.
Now, because it's illegal to kill many of these birds in the area, Yount says hunters themselves aren't much of an issue, but it's what they leave behind.
Lead ammunition. These birds will land on whatever they can find to eat, and if there's lead in it and they ingest it, they can die from lead poisoning.
So the key to us helping to keep these birds alive means making some intentional efforts, just like Yount. Shayna Waldtower, KREM 2 News.
Well, today is Father's Day, a day to say thank you to all of our dads and fatherly figures, and we want to show you some of the ways people around Spokane are celebrating them. The Washington State Department of Transportation here in Spokane tweeted how to give dad the best Father's Day gift, which to them is to keep your eyes on the road using your blinker and other safe driving techniques. Dad, of course, would be proud of you. KREM 2's Mark Hanrahan tweeted from Manitou Park, where he took part in the Dad's Day Dash to benefit SNAP Spokane. Way to go, Mark. Get some exercise in on this Father's Day. And our very own Shayna Waldtower tweeted out some love to her dad, who always reminds her to set her alarm clock, lock her doors, and check her motor oil. Love that. Some good tips from Dad. Also, this is a photo of my dad and myself. This was taken several years ago at his anniversary. Happy Father's Day to my dad. Also, we want to give you some fun facts maybe that you didn't know. Now, these are some Father's Day figures. 60% of men in the U.S. are fathers, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. That's roughly about 72 million dads. And let's break down that group. The majority of American dads are between the ages of 20 and 24 when they have their first child, and dads between 25 to 29 years old aren't far behind. And 30 to 34-year-old dads come in third. Nearly 20% of dads fall into this range when they become fathers. Very interesting. Well, what a great day to celebrate your dad. And if you're hoping to break out that barbecue tonight, maybe Michelle Boss can tell you when things might cool down a little bit, because it is a little toasty out there, Michelle.
It's definitely toasty outside. We were expecting some pretty hot temperatures for Father's Day, and that's what we've seen with readings in the upper 80s and even lower 90s across the inland northwest. We're currently sitting at 85 degrees in Spokane, Deer Park, and in Coeur d'Alene. So definitely warm enough weather to be out at the lake or out at the pool today. Lower 90s in Moses Lake up towards Grand Coulee Dam, Omak, Othello, even down into Lewiston and Pomeroy. Temperatures in the lower 90s. Satellite and radar showing mostly quiet weather here locally in Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. There are a couple of areas where we're already seeing a little bit of thunderstorm activity, especially across the northern Cascades into the Methow Valley, Twisp, Winthrop, even some of those showers heading towards the Tonasket, Omak area. So a little bit more active weather in that region, and we have seen a few scattered showers across the northern Panhandle up towards Bonners Ferry, Sandpoint, and then moving into northwest Montana. It looks like that shower activity will continue through the evening with even a chance of some continued showers overnight. But here locally should stay dry. Temperatures very warm this evening in the lower lower 80s, falling down into the mid 70s by 9 o'clock. And overnight low temperatures will be mild as well in the upper 50s to around 60. We do have warm weather for the next couple of days, but a big cool down starting to show itself on Wednesday as highs drop into the lower 70s.
Michelle, thank you. 2 city agencies are launching a new campaign at a busy downtown Spokane intersection and known trouble spots. The Washington Traffic Safety Commission and the Spokane County Target Zero Task Force partnered to begin the Look pilot program. And here's how it works. The campaign encourages everyone on the road to be aware of their surroundings by placing these reminders on sidewalks at busy intersections along Brown Street. There's also a billboard to catch the eye of drivers as well as people walking by. In 2017, 11 pedestrians were killed and 33 more were seriously injured in Spokane County. They hope the new signage will catch people's attention to reduce the number of collisions on Brown Street and lessen the risk of those on foot. Tonight, a 60-year-old man is charged with murder several days after he allegedly killed his daughter. Wendell Wilson was arrested this week after he called 911 saying he shot his daughter near her 2-year-old son. Officers arrested Wilson after he waived his Miranda rights and said he would, quote, talk. They found Wilson's daughter in a bedroom where she was found dead from multiple gunshot wounds. Documents say Wilson told officers the two got into an argument about a baby gate in the kitchen beforehand. Wilson is currently in the King County Jail on a $2 million bail. Well, the city of Spokane tweeted out some exciting news this week. More than $8.2 million in grants from the Clean Energy Fund will go to 10 proposed projects that will support research, development, and deployment of renewable energy technology. Probably the biggest news for Spokane is the $515,000 awarded to the Spokane Eco Project through the program. Their project focuses on making building control systems more efficient in responding to electrical grid needs, which will help cut down carbon emissions. With a record number of gray whales washing ashore around the Puget Sound area this year, wildlife officials are running out of places for the whales to decompose. So they're actually asking private landowners for help. A couple in Port Hadlock now has a whale cemetery in their backyard. The whale on their property died in a shipping lane 5 miles south of their home. Wildlife officials needed to put it somewhere to dissect it, so the couple agreed to allow them to keep it on their land. About 30 gray whales have died and washed ashore in Washington so far this year. This is the most in about 2 decades. Well, still ahead, the Los Angeles Police Department is investigating one of its own. This after an officer shot and killed a man who opened fire inside a Costco, LA. And after the Trump administration publicly blamed Iran for the attack on a U.S. oil tanker, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is reaching out to foreign leaders for support. We'll dive into his plans next.